Hi everybody, and welcome back to Through the Bible in 5 Minutes. Today we take a lightning tour through the wildest and craziest book in the whole Bible, Judges. The book is named for 12 judges or superheroes who deliver the Israelite people from their oppressors. Sometimes they use wisdom, leadership, sometimes just raw courage and strength, and sometimes they do it in the most bizarre ways. Here's what happened. After the death of Joshua, the Israelites had no national leader. The Israelite tribes, all 12 of them, were just scattered throughout the land. The Canaanites were still present and powerful. The Israelites found the pressure to conform to the Canaanite ways irresistible. And time and again, they fell into idolatry, immorality, and even child sacrifice. God would get their attention by allowing the Canaanites and other surrounding nations to oppress and enslave the Israelites. In response, the Israelites would cry out to God for help. He would raise up a judge who would deliver them. And the Israelites would remain faithful to God during the lifetime of the judge. But as soon as the judge died, the people would fall back into old ways and the cycle would repeat itself again and again. Of the 12 judges mentioned in Judges, we're going to focus on just 5. Number 1, Ehud. He delivered the Israelites by stabbing an enemy king in the belly. The king was so overweight that the Bible says his fat closed over the blade and the hilt of the dagger, and his intestines spilled out onto the floor. Gross. Number 2, Shamgar. He delivered the Israelites by killing 100 Philistine soldiers with just an ox goad, a stick. Pretty crazy stuff. Number 3, Deborah, the only female judge and the most honored of all of them. She told the Israelite general to attack the enemy, but he said he would not do so unless she came with him. She did, but she said because the general insisted that a woman go with him, a woman would get credit for the victory. We all presume she's talking about herself, but she's not. The enemy king runs from the Israelite army, takes shelter in the tent of a Bedouin woman, a Canaanite by the name of Jael. Jael befriends him. He falls asleep at her feet, but as soon as he is sound asleep, she takes a tent peg and drives it right through his temple. In a song that Deborah wrote to commemorate the victory, Jael is hailed as the hero. Number 4, Gideon. Gideon took an army of 32,000 men to fight the Midianite army. But God told him that the Israelites might think that their own power and strength in numbers delivered them, so he ordered Gideon to start sending soldiers home. Only when the army was reduced to 300 men did God give the order to attack. Gideon surrounded the Midianite army in the middle of the night with these 300 soldiers. On his signal, all 300 began blowing trumpets and shattering clay pots. The Midianite army woke up startled, confused, and in the confusion, they began fighting and killing each other, thus delivering the Israelites. And of course, all the glory went to God. Number 5, Samson. We all know this story. He delivered the Israelites from the Philistines by his powerful strength alone. But he had a weakness, and it was Philistine women. His girlfriend, Delilah, convinced him to reveal the secret of his great strength, which was in his uncut hair. You may recall that because of Samson's Nazirite vow, a symbol of that vow was to not cut his hair. So Delilah, once Samson went to sleep, cut off his hair, called in the Philistines. They captured Samson, put out his eyes, and then put him to work pushing a grindstone, grinding grain. Well, on one occasion, the Philistines threw a great party at the temple of one of their gods. And they called for Samson to be brought to the party so that they might make fun of him. But all the while he had been grinding grain, his hair had been growing back. They placed Samson between 2 pillars. And there Samson prayed that God would give him strength one last time to overcome his enemies. He pushed on those pillars. The temple came down, killing 3,000 Philistines and taking his own life as well. Well, these stories in Judges are fascinating, but they're also quite sad. They reveal God's consistent, constant love for his people, but their very fickle love for him in return. The very last book of Judges sums it all up. It says, "In those days there was no king in Israel. Every person did as he pleased." It hints that when Israel has again a national leader, a true king, that things will get better. Well, we'll find out about that in the next book. Hey, if you're finding these lightning Bible tours to be helpful for you, would you mind hitting the share button? I started this series in a strong conviction that God wanted to use this medium to let people know about his word and his great love for them, and anything that you can do to spread that word would be appreciated. Blessings.